Welcome, everybody, to Bible Bites. I'm Pastor Dan. We are reading through the Bible one small bite at a time. In our previous video, we made our way through Matthew 22, verses 1 through 14, so we'll pick up here in 15 today. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to entangle him in his words. All right, we see there's a plot against Jesus that's about to occur, and they want to cause Jesus to stumble, make him look bad. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians. I think this might be the first time the Herodians are mentioned here in the Gospel of Matthew, though they are mentioned in other Gospels, in the other Gospels. And the Herodians are a political group. Pharisees were also a political group, but the Pharisees were also a religious group. Herodians were probably much more just political. Not sure they had a lot of say in Judaism itself, but they supported the dynasty of Herod. And Herod was a governor. I don't know if that's the exact term that they used for him back then, but he was like a governor, and the Roman Empire oversaw a large area, which included Israel, or at least it included Judea. So they approach Jesus. They say to him, "Teacher, we know that you are true, teach the way of God truthfully, and you do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances." We're going to find out that they are buttering Jesus up. In other words, they are using a lot of flattery here. So tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? So this seemed like a question that no matter how Jesus answered, it was going to cause him problem with one group of people or with another group. Of course, to say that you should pay your taxes would not have been popular among many Jewish sympathizers who saw paying taxes to Rome as just placating Rome, right? They didn't like Roman rule. And so that would have set Jesus and his ministry against those Jewish sympathizers. Could have caused him problems there. But of course, if Jesus said, hey, uh, don't pay your taxes, that could have caused him serious problem with the Roman authorities and probably with the Herodians, who were Herod sympathizers. They were sympathizers of Herod's rule in Rome. So yeah, no matter really how Jesus answers this, it seems like the cards are really stacked against him, and of course that's what the Herodians and the Pharisees wanted. That's how they were plotting against him. But Jesus, aware of their malice, he said, "Why put me to the test, you hypocrites?" He saw through their flattery that they were being duplicitous. They didn't, in fact, believe that Jesus was true or that he taught the way of God. And they, yeah, they were hypocrites. But not just in this, because they were saying one thing and doing another as they were coming to Jesus, but there were other ways in which they lived that they were hypocrites as well. But we won't get into that. So this is how Jesus answers. Show me the coin for the tax. They brought him a denarius, which was a type of Roman coin, just like we have pennies and uh, dimes, nickels, quarters, those things. So Jesus said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" And they said, "Well, Caesar's." So unlike our penny, right? We have Abraham Lincoln's portrait. Oh, on the quarter, I believe we have George Washington's portrait. But on their denarius, they had the portrait of Caesar. Then he said to them, "Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard it, they marveled, they left him and went away. So they failed at their task. This plot against Jesus seemed like it was destined to succeed. How possibly could it fail? Yet the wisdom of God prevailed and made these religious leaders, these political parties, look foolish. This does now have application. Jesus' words have application for us today, for those that pursue the kingdom of God and whom the kingdom of God is their focus and their purpose. There are things which we render to the government and authorities, and it's okay to do so. And there are things, though, that we give to God, which we ought to give to God. So our obedience to God is greater than that of our obedience to men, to even governing authorities. But this does not mean that we simply ought be against, right? That we simply ought be against governing rule, governing authorities. They do exist for a purpose, and we need to be wise, right, in how we live in our day and in our age. And certain obedience to governing authorities and rule is seeking the welfare of our communities and where we live. Excuse me, in the nation in which we live. So yeah, there's a careful wisdom here, which we can apply to our life today as we live for God. All right, that said, we'll tackle verses 20 through, at least 23 through 33 in our next video. Until then, be blessed.